This is my friend. This is Totoro. A little Totoro here. He sits on top of the synth. You probably can't see him. Look at all those books, unread books. Right, let's go. So, welcome to the video. Today's video is called Unleashing Your Modular, the pros and cons of releasing your music. How many of you out there have actually released the music that you make with your modular synth? And by that, I mean, how many of you have made it available for other people to listen to? So releasing your music could be in a variety of different ways. It could be, the sort of traditional way of releasing it on some form of media, CD, cassette, vinyl, whatever. It could be digital release through Spotify, Bandcamp. It could be as simple as just playing it for people to listen to. Some kind of live performance, whether formal or informal. What else? It could be on YouTube here, as I do. So for myself, I release my music. Obviously, I have these videos that I make, and I also have my music on Spotify and on Bandcamp, and all the usual places, I guess, where music is uploaded to. I use DistroKid as a method for distributing music out into the world. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that later on in the video. So really this video is about releasing your music, and why I think it's good to release your music in whatever form suits you. It might not be the same for everybody. First of all, let's just think about, there might be, of course, reasons why you might not want to release your music, and lots of people will feel very differently about releasing music. And I guess this really, I'm coming at this from the perspective of someone who creates music with a modular synth, but a lot of this probably applies to any other type of music, whether it's electronic music or sitting down with a piano and singing a song, or a guitar, or being in a band, whatever. It all kind of it all applies, really. So first of all, let's address some of the reasons why people might not want to release music. And a lot of time, I think this probably relates to some sort of fear, okay, which you kind of need to overcome if you're going to release music. And that might be some sort of fear of judgment. You might be fearful that if people listen to your music, they're going to make some judgment about you, and you're probably not scared that they're going to make a judgment that your music's really good. You probably are scared that they are going to make the judgment that your music is bad, and through making that judgment, that is a reflection on you as a human being. If you've made bad music and put it out into the world, you must be a bad person. So that fear of judgment is there, and it's very difficult to overcome. And it's probably there. It probably never really goes away. It doesn't really matter how much music you've released. There will always, or to what level you've released music at, there will always be some sort of fear of judgment. Even for myself creating these videos, there will always be in the back of my mind, oh, is this video going to do okay? Is people going to hate it? Are people going to hate me? Are they going to leave negative comments because this is terrible music, and so on? So that fear of judgment is always there. But if you were to release your music out into the world, you have to kind of be at peace with it. You have to accept it. And the only way to do that is to actually release the thing that you're wanting to put out into the world, and realize that actually it's not that bad. All the terrible things that you thought were going to happen probably won't happen. The worst thing that's likely to happen is that nobody listens to it, because nobody can find it, because nobody knows who you are and nobody cares who you are, really. So the sooner you kind of realize that, I think the quicker you get over that fear. I can sort of relate that to a little story about myself performing. So in a, I guess you might say, in a previous life, when I played a lot more classical guitar, and I would perform weddings and restaurants and that sort of thing. And I can remember the first time of doing that, where I'd got a job in a restaurant to play, and while people are eating their food and whatnot, I just sat in the corner playing a few pieces for a couple of hours. And I spent a large amount of time preparing myself for that, making sure that I was practiced. I've got all the music there in case I forgot one of the pieces. I'd got all all spare strings in case I broke a string. Everything that I could possibly need. So trying to make sure that nothing possible could go wrong. And I was incredibly nervous about playing my guitar. It was really the first time that I probably played guitar properly in front of any kind of audience. And so I'd worked out a set list for the whole 2 hours of pieces, and I'd practiced them and all the rest of it. And so the first couple of pieces that I put in the set list were pieces that were a bit easier to play, so I knew that I wouldn't mess them up, because there's nothing worse than sort of messing up the first couple of pieces and then that throws you for the rest of it. So I played through those pieces. It was fairly quiet in the restaurant. There weren't a lot of people in. And after, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour or so, I came to the realization that nobody cared what I was playing and what I was doing. I was just sat in the corner providing some ambience so that they could enjoy their meal. Nobody was listening to me. I could do whatever I wanted, really. And I think, part way through, maybe after an hour or so, I probably abandoned my set list and just played whatever I felt like. It's still, pleasant music or whatnot, but I was way more relaxed. And I'd come to the realization that they weren't really listening to me. It didn't really matter. If I made a mistake, no one cared. But there was this one group of people sat at a table, and there was an elderly man sat there, and they finished their meal, and they walked past me, past the exit, or out to the exit, and this elderly man came up to me and he said, "I was listening to you. You were playing really beautifully. That was really lovely to listen to." And I thought, "Oh, that was really nice of him." And so that really kind of put aside my fear that I was going to be judged and that people would hate me and all the rest of it, because the majority of people weren't listening, and that one person that was listening actually quite enjoyed it and came up and told me, which made me feel good. So if you can overcome that fear through doing the thing, then I think that really helps. And whether it's performing live or releasing music, you've just got to kind of do it and realize that it's not as bad as you think. So that's probably the main reason why somebody might not want to release their music. It's that fear of judgment, and that kind of leads into other aspects of why you might not want to release the music. You might not want to release the music because you feel that it's not finished, or it's not good enough in some way. There may be an element of perfectionism that creeps in, and you think, well, this piece just isn't good enough. I need to work on it a bit more. I need to whatever. And again, that ties in with that fear of judgment. You feel it's not ready because you feel that if you were to release it at this point now, people would judge it and come to the conclusion that it's bad. So that fear of judgment is the main thing that you have to overcome if you want to release your music. There are, of course, reasons, both good reasons and bad reasons for releasing music, and I think it's probably worth just touching on some of the reasons why or maybe the wrong motivations for releasing music. So financial gain is probably one. If you're releasing music because you want to earn lots of money and get famous, then that's probably not going to happen. So you'll be disappointed, and then you'll have a bad experience, and then you won't want to release any more music. So don't think that through releasing music you're going to earn a lot of money, because you won't. You might earn some money if you're lucky, and if you work hard and you keep at it. But that's a slim chance, and so it's best not to go into the whole thing, the whole venture, with that mindset of thinking that you're going to earn a lot of money. Probably if you are releasing music because you think it's going to boost your ego, maybe you believe that you are really good and you don't have that fear that most people have. So you want to release music so that you can gain praise from people. Well, that probably won't happen either, because, as I mentioned previously, probably most people won't even notice that you've done anything, unless you have like lots of followers already, which, if you're releasing music for the first time, you probably won't. So you'll just be, again, disappointed if you're waiting for that ego boost, and it probably just won't be a great experience for you again, and it'll put you off, and then you won't want to release more music. So those 2 points then, I guess, reasons why you might not want to, and mainly being judgment, and maybe the wrong motivations, which might prevent you from, or give you a bad experience and prevent you from wanting to continue to release music. Those are something to be aware of, I think, because we need to sort of avoid those a little bit, or try and overcome them in some way, in order to have a good experience of releasing music. I hope somebody out there has a counter going for the number of times that I say release music in this video. Those 2 words are starting to sound a little bit weird now, because I think I've said them so many times. If you have counted how many times I've said the words release music so far, just pop that in the comments. I'm going to try and think of different words to use for the rest of this video, but I probably won't. So let's get into the sort of more positive side of releasing music. There we go. I've done it again. What are the right reasons to do this, to put the music out there, to put your work out there? So I think the first reason is to gain a sense of achievement. If you can put something out into the world, and you can sort of put a line under it and go, right, that's done, that's finished. It does give you a sense of achievement, and you feel good about yourself because you've done it. Irrespective of whether anybody watches it or listens to it or whatever, you've planned the thing, you've done it, you've created it, and then you've put it out, and it has a life of its own at that point. And maybe lots of people will listen to it, or maybe just a few people will listen to it, but you still have this sense of achievement that you've finished something, you've created something, and you've finished it. And I think that's really important, because it's really easy with music to just keep collecting half-finished ideas and half-finished pieces that never really get anywhere. But if you can set yourself a deadline or a challenge or something, where you say, I'm gonna release this, I'm gonna put it out no matter what, then it sort of forces you into trying to finish these ideas and these little projects. And that's one of the reasons that I started doing these YouTube videos. The majority of my videos up to this point are all instrumental videos, so it's only recently I've started doing these talking videos, but the point of it really was to try and force me into actually trying to create some kind of finished piece of music. So even though some of those videos will be, let's say, slightly more imperfect than I would want, but I still put them out there because I set myself a deadline. I decided I wanted to try and do a video each week. Now, at different points, I've been doing this channel for quite a long time now, And at different points across that period, I've had hiatuses where I've not been able to do any videos at all, due to work and family life and all the rest of it. But I tried to set myself this deadline of having something each week that I would put a video out, and really that was for myself to kind of make me create music and not just have all this stuff sat behind me gathering dust. So yeah, so there's this sense of achievement that you get from creating a piece of music and putting it out there. Another reason that you might want to go through this process is to receive some kind of feedback. Now that could be direct feedback in the sense that somebody may offer a comment and say something about your music, or positive or negative. Or it may be sort of slightly more indirect feedback where, perhaps you put out a video and it gets lots of views, or perhaps it gets less views. And so you think, oh, well, maybe that wasn't such a great thing, or people didn't like it as much. So you get kind of feedback that way. That's probably not so useful for you in terms of, I don't know, progressing as a musician or a composer. But having sort of the opportunity for direct feedback from other people, maybe you can whatever platform you release the music on, you can share that with friends, or if you have any kind of mentor or whatever, that they can listen to it and they can give you sort of more direct feedback. So by releasing the music, it is an opportunity for you to get feedback, and that's really useful so that you're able to grow and improve and and get better at what you do, which, probably most people are interested in getting better at what they do. Secondary to that, the feedback you might receive might be from yourself. So sometimes I think you will listen to something differently when you're separate, or you separate yourself from it a little bit, which is difficult to do when you're in the moment of creating the music, or even just listening back to it in your studio. Sometimes you need that little bit of time and distance to come back and listen to something and notice things about it, and then kind of critique yourself or give yourself feedback on a particular piece of music. But also, if you're doing this over a period of time, then you can kind of chart your progress as well. If you listen to music, if I go back and watch some of my early videos, the first videos that I made, and then pick little snippets through time up to now, hopefully I'll see that either I've improved or changed in some way. There's been some kind of progression through what I've been doing. And it's nice sometimes, because you don't always feel like you're getting any better or you're making any progress, but having something where you can look back over time and see how you've changed really helps to highlight where you've made that progression. So having this record of releases, whether they're audio or video or whatever it may be, it really does help to chart your progress. What else? You might find that even though you might not necessarily be confident yourself in the music that you're creating, or feel that there's a lot of improvement to be made, but that what you put out there may still actually inspire other people, because other people won't know necessarily that you're a beginner, or that you're feeling nervous or about the music that you release. People will take it on face value. They'll probably assume that because you're confident enough to release the music, that actually you must be some kind of accomplished person. And so they may take inspiration from that and from what you're doing. I definitely take a lot of inspiration from other people, other musicians, other videos, other artists that I listen to, some of whom may may well be further along the process than I am, or not as far along the process as I am. I don't know. But it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you see something that inspires you, and and that's it. Really, it's great, isn't it? So you don't know that what you're releasing isn't going to inspire other people, and sort of carry the creativity forward, the creativity that you have within yourself. Um, and and that sort of feeds into the next point as well, which by releasing your work and putting your creative endeavors out into the world, it does help to kind of generate some sort of community. So I think there's quite a strong modular synth community on the internet, whether that be on YouTube, or forums, websites, other platforms, etc. It almost seems like modular synth is its own kind of genre of music, separate from electronic music or separate from whatever genres of electronic music. I know I often find myself looking for artists that specifically use modular synth rather than artists that play a particular type of music. So if you are releasing your music in some way, you can know that you are contributing to a community that exists, and you can be part of that community, and you can have people comment on your work, and you can comment on other people's work, and be supportive for each other. And I think that's a really helpful and useful aspect of this whole thing. So those are probably some of the reasons why, some of the good reasons why it's worth considering releasing your music. If you can overcome that fear that we all have, if you can beat that, then you will find these other things will benefit you greatly. So having this sense of achievement, receiving feedback, having this record of your progress, hopefully maybe inspiring other people, and then also just being part of a community. I think those are all really worthwhile reasons why you should consider releasing your music. So final part of the video, I guess, is how can you release your music? In what ways can you share it with the world? And I suppose that is it. Ultimately, it doesn't need to be anything fancy. It's just some way that you can share what you do with the rest of the world. If you want to go down the more formal route, then you need to find some kind of online distributor. I use DistroKid, but there are lots of other distributors who will, once you have created your tracks, you upload them to the distributor, and then they push them out to Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Deezer, all different streaming services. So that's your kind of more formal approach. They'll also collect the pittance of money that you may make from those streaming platforms. I think possibly a better model for DIY musicians is Bandcamp. So I have stuff on Spotify and all the rest of it, which you can find links to below in the description. But I also have music on Bandcamp. I think Bandcamp's great. It's a much fairer system, supports the musician in a much better way. So you can download and buy my albums off there. I have got actually. Oh, I just suddenly remembered this. A long time ago, I did get some CDs made. Oh my goodness, they're down here somewhere. Excuse me. Whilst I try and find these. Yeah, I forgot that I've got these. I had some CDs made a long time ago. This is the first album that I put together. I had no idea really what I was doing. It's on Spotify, it's on Bandcamp, and if you want to buy a CD, that is also available via Bandcamp as well. Shameless plug there. Obviously, YouTube is, I think, a really great platform to release music on, and that's the main thing that I like to do, is to release my my tracks here on YouTube through video. I think I find that a bit more interesting than just releasing music. And the stuff I put on Bandcamp and Spotify, really, I suppose it's just there as kind of like a backup in case anybody does want to listen to it. But my main focus is really putting things on YouTube. So those are kind of, I guess, the more sort of fixed approach to releasing music. The other aspect to it though is performing. So I don't necessarily do a lot of performance, and that's probably more due to the difficulties of logistics of that. But that's a way that you could release music. You know, if there's somewhere local to you where you know you could do performances, maybe that's worth considering. Trying to put together a little set and getting down there and you know, seeing what the reaction of people is. You know, over the years I have done a few performances, and it's always been great. People always want to come up to me afterwards and talk to me about the modular and what it does or what it is and how it works. And you know, quite often actually in the last couple of years or so, there'll be people who are also into modular that will come up to me. A lot of the performances that I've done, I should say, have been at festivals, in sort of more kind of like a well-being capacity, I guess. So myself and my partner do sound baths where, if any of you have ever experienced a sound bath, you have these bowls that resonate and produce these really pleasant, relaxing tones that, well, I can't really explain all of the science or whatever behind that, but people will come and just lie down for an hour or whatever and listen to these tones produced by these crystal bowls, quartz crystal bowls, and I will accompany that with the modular, with the sort of more ambient stuff. So not necessarily in those performances, I'm not necessarily performing to an audience that are coming to watch music, but it's surprising how many people come up to me afterwards that are into modular and they want to talk about it with me, or just into, you know, electronic music and are interested in what I'm doing. So, you know, performance is another way of putting your music out into the world. So I just want to kind of end this video by inviting you. I don't really know how this is going to work. Inviting you to share any links that you have to your own music. Put them in the comments below. Now, I know that quite often people, you don't put links in comments on videos. And I don't know if YouTube is going to sort of think all of these links are some kind of spam and automatically delete them. I hope not. I suspect that what will happen is that they'll be held for review, and then I will just click on a thing and it lets the link be posted or lets the comment be posted. So if you have links to like your Spotify or Bandcamp or your own YouTube channel, anything like that where you have your own music, then please post them in the comments, and hopefully we can get some kind of interaction going where people can share links and support each other in terms of, you know, where their music is being released. I will say, please don't put links to any other websites where you know, it's not music related or it's not related to your own music that you're releasing, or products or anything like that, because if I do see anything like that, I'm just going to delete them. So I just want people to post links sharing their own music that they've made themselves, not anybody else's music or anything like that. Okay, I hope that's clear, and we'll see if it works. It might not work. I don't know. I don't know how YouTube will react to lots of people posting links. I mean, if they're YouTube links, hopefully it will work okay. Well, I don't know. It's an experiment. We'll see what happens. So yeah, if you want to do that, if you have any insights yourself or comments, you know, about your own experience of releasing music, then please pop those in the comments as well. And yeah, other than that, see you next time. Cheerio.